Welcome to EC Council University's webinar series with today's webinar, Transfer of Credits, exploring how to transfer cybersecurity certifications and other previously earned credits into a degree program here at EC Council University. My name is Mark Buck. I am the Vice President of Admissions here at EC Council University, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So I would like to go ahead and welcome all of you. Just to kind of cover a couple of talking points of what we'll go over this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about EC Council University. We've received some feedback from many of you that you've heard of EC Council University, but you're not exactly familiar who we are as an institution. So we'll talk a little bit about our history and our legacy. We're going to talk a little bit about the trends and the threats that are happening in the global landscape. I think just this last week alone, we saw several significant data breaches in some pretty significant industries and organizations. We're going to talk a little bit about those trends and those threats and what it means for the job outlook and for the workforce. We'll talk about some of the industries that are in dire need right now for certified and trained cybersecurity talent. Many of these industries continue to struggle to fill the job vacancies that they have. Then we're going to get into the actual transferring of your cybersecurity certifications or other previously earned college credit that you might have, and how you can transfer those into our degree programs, which actually can help you save time and money. And then we'll talk a little bit about why earning a degree is important and what employers are looking for, not just today, but what they're looking for their future workforce when it comes to a credential perspective. So a little bit about our legacy. Well, EC Council University, we build on the recognition and the strength of our parent corporation, which is EC Council. So many of you might have heard of our parent company, EC Council. EC Council actually is the world's largest cybersecurity training and certification organization in the world and globally. And we are actually the creator and the architect of the world-acclaimed Certified Ethical Hacking Certification. So if you've ever heard of CEH or Certified Ethical Hacking, either as a credential, as a certificate, as a program, or as a requirement for an employer, from an employer to have for a position, EC Council is actually the creator, the inventor, so to speak, of that Certified Ethical Hacking certification. So our legacy really is built on that predicate. And what is our mission at EC Council University? Our mission is to create cybersecurity leaders globally that have all the requisite talent and skills to perform at optimum levels and to secure the cyber world at a national, corporate, and individual level. And our vision, quite frankly, is our lives are dedicated to the mitigation and remediation of the cyber plague that's menacing the world today. And we're going to talk about some of those threats and how critical and actually how dangerous some of those threats are. EC Council University, we are a US-based university, and we're licensed by the New Mexico Higher Education Department, and we were licensed by them since 2006. Okay, EC Council University, our accreditation and recognition. We are actually accredited. We are accredited by the Distance Education Accreditation Commission, DEAC. EC Council University is a 100% fully online university. DEAC is actually the premier and the gold seal accreditation and the accrediting body that gives and grants accreditation to online universities and online programs. So we're very proud that we have our accreditation, and we are accredited and recognized by DEAC. We also have other recognitions, right? So we are recognized by CHIA, the National Council for State Authorization and Reciprocity Agreements, and the American Council on Education. I'm also very proud of the fact that EC Council University was voted in the top 20 most valuable online colleges in America. That's a great recognition and honor to have. Just a couple of student learning and career outcomes from our 2022 surveys. From our surveys, right, 100% of our graduates report that they had employment within a year of graduation or completion of their program. 93.8% of our students indicated that they achieved their academic goals upon completion of their program. 91.55% of our students indicated that they remained motivated throughout the program to stay, to retain and complete the program. And 89.6, almost 90% of our students indicated that they would recommend our programs to others. Just a little bit of our global footprint. So EC Council University, right, we say we have one campus because we're online, but many locations. So if you take a look, we're proud of the fact that we embrace global diversity. Those red dots indicate where our students come from. The red dot in the U.S., it's actually it's a little bit underrepresenting in the fact that we actually have students all across the U.S. that are enrolled in our programs. We just happen to have the red dot there indicating that we do have a presence in the United States. But I believe we have students that represent, I believe it's 30 to 35 of the states in the U.S. So as you can see, we really are a worldwide and have a global footprint when it comes to our programs and our students. Just a little bit about our student success. The first student to the left is Devin Acosta, and he is a senior Linux security engineer with Ring Central. And he talks a little bit about how EC Council University gave him the career growth that he needed, right? So he was looking to enter into the cybersecurity industry, and a degree and a program at EC Council University helped him launch into that. Takahiro Oda, he's one of our outstanding students. He's actually a cloud infrastructure security engineer with PayPay Corporation. And he actually was a master's student. And by earning his master's degree from EC Council University, he actually correlates earning a double promotion with his employer from EC Council University and earning his master's. When somebody asks me, who is EC Council University? I think our students and our faculty really speak best in terms of who we are, right? So, we have Timothy Hill, an information technology specialist from the U.S. Department of Defense, right? Yuri Diogenes, who's a senior program manager with Microsoft. Dr. Charlie Nixon, who's a consultant in the field and has dual master's degrees in cybersecurity and business administration. And then Pamela Garrett, who's a project engineer with FedEx Express. One of the things that we're proud of, and one of the things that really builds the quality of our education here at EC Council University, are the credentials of our faculty. We pride ourselves on hiring faculty that are working professionals in the industry, so that when our students are in the classroom, they are learning from real world practitioners, individuals who are bringing real world scenarios into the classroom, so that when our students are working in their iLabs, they're actually working on scenarios and simulations from real world scenarios. So this highlights just a few of our esteemed faculty. So what is cyberspace? We really hear the term cyberspace, and sometimes we might think it's gaming, we might think it's identity theft, but it's a real threat, and it is a battleground, and there is a war going on in the world right now in the area of cyberspace. In the year 2022, the total financial damages as a result of cyber attacks reached an all-time high of $6 trillion. And I want to put that into a real-world comparison. If you looked at all of the financial damages incurred from natural disasters, all of the financial damages and atrocities from the world drug trade, you combine the world drug trade and natural disasters, and the financial damages from cyber attacks actually far exceeded those combined. So that's just a little comparison to give you an idea of the critical war and the real world and the real life war that's going on in cyberspace. There's a cyber attack every 39 seconds. A ransomware attack happens every 14 seconds. And the healthcare industry in the year 2022 had 701 successful data breaches. I live in the Chicago area. The Lurie Children's Hospital just had their database breached this last week. So healthcare is a prime target for cyber criminals. And cyber criminals, they're actually investing in the training of their employees. I mean, who would have thought that training and development for criminals would ever exist? But it's happening in the area and in the space of cybercrime. So what does that mean for individuals who are either contemplating a career in cybersecurity or wanting to enhance their career? That last bullet point speaks volumes. The need for cybersecurity professionals, it's been growing very rapidly, and it's even faster than companies can hire and companies can maintain. And that demand is expected to continue. So what are the cyber attacks? Where and how? Again, some of us think it might be gaming, it might be identity theft. Well, it's phishing. You know, most employees of major organizations have completed some form of training on how to identify cyber criminals in the form of phishing. Phishing really is, it's bait that's put out there by a cyber criminal coming in the form of an email from somebody you know. And as soon as you open up that email, they have access to your data, your computer. Ransomware strategies, right? Cyber criminals gaining access to companies' databases and holding it for ransom, saying, you know what, we're going to continue to breach and hack your employee or your customer database unless you pay us. Cryptocurrency, hijacking cryptocurrency through cryptojacking. Cyber physical attacks, physically being able to take over one's computer. State, local, and national government agencies. So state-sponsored attacks. State, local, and government and national and federal government agencies are a prime target for cyber criminals. Right? The Internet of today, right? The IoT, using the internet to attack. You know, if you've been to a hospital or a doctor's office, right? They no longer use a pen and paper. They use medical devices. They use, tablets. They take your data and log your data in what's called smart medical devices, or SMDs, right? And now all of your information is stored in electronic medical records. All of that data, that's prime information for cyber criminals. Social security numbers, insurance information, third parties, vendors, contractors, partners, people you do business with, connected cars and semi-autonomous vehicles, right? Smart cars. Cyber criminals have the ability to hack into physical cars and take over cars. I think Tesla just over the last couple of years, has had that experience, and they're looking to try to. They're looking in terms of how to solve some of those factors that they've been experienced. All of these are in the news. Social engineering, just social media and how we function as a society. So what is the cost? I think we talked about the fact that the damages are approaching $6 trillion. The average cost of a data breach, of a simple data breach, rose from 2.6 million to 2.24 million in 2021 to 4.3 million in 2022, right? 67% of companies agree that the shortage of qualified cybersecurity candidates creates an additional risk for their organization. So knowing that their companies are struggling to fill those jobs, that puts them at an even greater risk. You know what? They're anticipating that there's going to be between 3.5 and 4 million cybersecurity jobs still unfilled between now and 2025. The top industries: healthcare, manufacturing, and finance. We talked a little bit about phishing, which accounts for 36% of all attacks. What are some of the top companies that are hiring right now in cybersecurity? Microsoft, Accenture, Salesforce, Palo Alto Networks, Cisco, McAfee, Fortinet, and CrowdStrike are just some of them. I'm not going to get into all of this because we talked a little bit about the financial impact, but take a look at the bottom of this slide. These are the industries that are in dire need of hiring for cybersecurity talent. We talked about healthcare, banking, finance, automotive industry, hospitality, hotels, cruise lines, restaurants, government agencies we talked upon, mobile communication, right? Your T-Mobile, your AT&Ts, your mobile communication organizations, e-commerce, right? Your Amazons, your eBays of the world, aviation. You know, our founder and our CEO, Jay Bavisi, who is actually the inventor of certified ethical hacking, the way it happened was, I think we all remember 9/11 in 2001, a very tragic day in history. And it was the result of several terrorist groups carrying out terrorist acts by hijacking planes, okay? When that happened, the Department of Defense, U.S. Department of Defense, and the FBI summoned our CEO, Jay Bavisi, who is already training in certified ethical hacking, and asked if he could help train U.S. government employees as a means of countering terrorism. And it's not far-fetched that someday the worry is that terrorists will have the ability to overtake an airliner virtually. So aviation is a huge industry that's constantly looking to keep themselves safe from cyber criminals. Manufacturing and education. Every year in the US, there's at least 2 to 3 major universities who have their database breached, and they have to pay millions of dollars to protect their students' information. So these are all industries. If you go out on Indeed, or you go out on ZipRecruiter, or any recruitment or employment site, you will see that these are the industries that are hiring for experts in cyber criminal. So what is the unemployment rate in cybersecurity, right? Since the year 2016, the unemployment rate has remained at 0%. What other industry or what other field can claim that they have a 0% unemployment rate? Well, how can that be, Mark? Well, again, that goes to the next point, right? Cybercrime Magazine's projections indicate that there is going to remain an estimated 3.5 to 4, I think the latest was 4 million job openings in the field through 2025. And the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics indicate that there's going to be a 33% growth, okay, in cybersecurity, okay, between 2020 and 2030. 33% growth. Well, is that 33% growth good, bad, or indifferent? Well, if you look at it, it's 4 times higher than the growth rate across all other occupations. 4 times higher than all other occupations combined, right? So what are some of the jobs that somebody can get in cyber criminal? I'm not going to go through all of these. Many of you might already be working in these, right? Security specialist, incident responder, security manager, Chief Information Security Officer, Information Security Analyst, Security Auditor, Penetration Tester. And look at these average starting salaries, these average salaries in these areas, right? Ranging from $66,000 or $51,000, $66,000 up to $221,000. Many of you might already be working in the field and you're looking to advance your career by either finishing that bachelor's or going on and earning a master's or a graduate certificate, because some of these more advanced positions, they require you to have a degree, and employers are requiring you to have that. And some employers, even if you're working in the industry and you don't have a degree, they're requiring you to go back and get a degree in order for you to remain employed with their organization. So what are some success indicators, right? Why did we create EC Council University, right? Our parent company, EC Council, they do a great job of providing certifications, but we recognize the need in the workforce and the requirement of employers for their employees to have degrees at the bachelor's level, have graduate certifications, and have master's degrees, right? 88% of your cybersecurity postings specify that a bachelor's degree, okay, is required, right? And I think it was 35% were indicating that master's degrees were required. And for certain levels, 90 to 100% of specific jobs require a master's degree in a field in cybersecurity. Again, go look at those job postings out on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and jobs.com, and you'll be able to see the jobs that are requiring to have those degrees, right? And 78% of organizations consider and look at cybersecurity certification programs when they're making hiring decisions, right? So that is one of the reasons why EC Council University was formed. So what areas do we offer programs in? Well, we offer a Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity, and that's a degree completion program. And I know many of you here are looking to potentially complete your bachelor's, and you want to know what credits will transfer in. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So we have a degree completion program. So if you have the equivalency of 2 years or a 2-year diploma or an associate's degree, and you're looking to get that bachelor's in cybersecurity, ECCU is the place to be. And the good news is we don't require you to have previous credits in a cybersecurity or even an IT field. You can have an associate's or 2-year degree in business or accounting. And the reason is we build the cybersecurity certifications into the program. If you already have them, you get to waive those. But if you don't, we build them into the program. We have a Master's of Science in Cybersecurity. In a very similar fashion, you might have a bachelor's in a non-IT or non-cybersecurity field. Maybe you have a bachelor's in business or accounting, and you want to build that up and get a master's in cybersecurity. Remember, there are two industries that are in huge demand right now for cybersecurity experts, and that's banking and finance. So many individuals who are working in the banking and finance industry and have an associate's or a bachelor's in accounting or finance, they're looking to go back and get a degree in cybersecurity, which just makes them all that more secure and marketable within their field, in their industry. We also offer a Master's of Science in Computer Science. Now, this one, we do want you to have a bachelor's in some form of IT or computer science related area, but where ECCU's Masters in Computer Science differ from other computer science master programs out there, ours focuses on cybersecurity. There are 3 areas where we focus in on. One of them, which is all over the news, is artificial intelligence. We saw this coming. We have an advisory board of over 300 working professionals in the industry. We knew a year ago AI was going to be big. And so we incorporated artificial intelligence as one of our pillars in our computer science program. The second area is robotics, right? So we've incorporated aspects of robotics into the fundamentals of our computer science program. And the last one, drawing a blank here. BitChain technology. So those three areas really are the foundations of our computer science, our master's in computer science. So it differs than other computer science programs out there. We also offer graduate certificate programs. So if you have a bachelor's or you have a master's and you're not looking to get another degree, but you just want to upskill yourself, we have graduate certificate programs that consist of taking 3 courses in order for you to get a graduate certificate or a specialization in a certain area. And then we offer non-degree courses. Maybe you just want to go and maybe get an additional certification. Maybe you don't have a CND or a certified network defender and you want to get that. Or maybe you want to get a CHFI, right? Computer hacking forensic investigator certification. You can actually take non-degree courses and earn those certifications. The other piece about all of our programs is our certifications are embedded in the programs. You earn a global recognized certification from EC Council, and with 1 or 2 exceptions, the cost of those certifications are built into the program. So you don't need to worry about preparing for the exam and then having to pay an extra $1,000 or potentially $2,000 just to take that exam. So again, with a few exceptions, the cost of the certification vouchers to take those exams are built into our programs, and I believe the cost of retaking up to 1 retake is built in as well, right? Graduation requirements, I'm not going to really get into this, but both of our programs really require you to meet certain criteria, obviously of a GPA, certain credits, and then both of our programs, all of our programs require that 67% of the coursework in that program are completed here at EC Council University. And when we get into the transferability of credits, we're going to talk a little bit about how you balance and ensure you're taking the right amount of courses with EC Council and then transferring in the maximum possible. I think you'll see we have a very generous transfer policy, and our goal is to try to transfer in as much credit as possible for you. So let's talk a little bit about transferring cybersecurity certifications, right? So it's a little bit, we say that you can transfer the credits. You're not really transferring the credits in, but what you're doing is we are allowing you to waive courses. So basically, if you have a cybersecurity certification in a particular area, guess what? As long as that certification has been earned within the last 10 years, you have the ability to utilize that certification and waive a course. And so if you can waive a course in your bachelor's or your master's program, guess what? That's 1 less course you have to take, 1 less course you have to pay for, and you have the ability of completing your program sooner. So you're saving time, you're saving money, and you're graduating quickly. So let's take a look. If you take a look to the right of this slide, you can see which certifications on your left side of that box qualify for potentially waiving courses in the master's program or the bachelor's program. So let's say you have a certification in CND, Certified Network Defender, and you're looking to enter into our bachelor's program. You would have the potential ability to waive our CIS 403 course, which is Network Security, Firewalls, and VPNs. Why? Because you have a certification in CND. You've already demonstrated your knowledge and expertise in those areas that course covers. So you would have the ability to waive that CIS 403 class. One less class to take, one less class to pay for, ability to graduate sooner. Let's say you have that same certification, Certified Network Defender or CND. You already have a bachelor's program, but you're enrolling in our master's program. That same CND certification would allow you to waive our ECCU 500 course, which is Managing Secure Network Systems. So you can utilize that same certification to waive your course in your master's program, because we know you already demonstrated your expertise in managing secure network systems. Now, here's one caveat. You can't double dip. So you cannot use the CND certification to waive your CIS 403 course in the bachelor's. Then once you've earned the bachelor's, use that same certification to waive a course in the master's program. So you can't use that CND certification to double dip. But to be honest, most students, I very rarely see a student that's in a position to do that, because they're either coming in at a bachelor's level or coming in at a master's. You can see that that same thing, that same policy applies for CEH and CHFI. If you've earned that CEH certification or the CHFI certification, you can utilize those to substitute and waive CIS 404 or CIS 406 in the bachelor's program, or in the master's program, the ECCU 501 or 502. So this is a way of EC Council University recognizing these certifications. The other piece, which is very important, and I want you to make note of this, is these certifications do not have to be earned at EC Council or EC Council University. They do not. As long as these certifications were earned from an industry recognized and an accredited certification institution or body, we will accept them. So again, they do not need to be earned at EC Council or EC Council University. Going on, you'll see additional certifications that can be used to waive courses in the master's program. So if you have your CPENT certification, you have the ability to transfer it in. If you have your EDRP, your ECSP, your ECIH, your EISM, or your CISO certification, if you have those certifications, you have the ability to waive courses. There is a maximum number that we will allow you to transfer in. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Mark, how do I know if my certifications are going to transfer in? And we're going to talk about the process shortly in how you can have your certifications reviewed and looked at. But I want to pause here because they're not just cybersecurity certifications. If you have any previous college credit, we want to look at that. And we want to help you maximize how much you can transfer in. So I had indicated that the bachelor's program was a degree completion program. So to get into our bachelor's program, you must have 60 transferable credit hours. And that could be a combination of these three certifications, CND, CEH, CHFI. It could be courses that you've taken when you were studying at the undergraduate level. Maybe you've earned an associate's, maybe you have a diploma from a 2-year school, but we're going to look at all that. So it's a degree completion program, right? We're going to take a look at that. You need 60 to get in. However, we allow you to transfer in a maximum of 90, right? So if you have 60 hours, you can start the bachelor's program and you will complete the whole degree completion track. However, if you have additional credits and you can transfer in up to 90, that's an additional 30 hours of courses you don't need to take in the degree completion track, and an additional 30 hours you've already earned towards graduation. So the question you probably have is, how do I know this? And the way that the way we help you figure that out is we are required, in order to complete an evaluation, we are required to have you apply. We need to know, what program are you applying for? Are you applying for a bachelor's? Are you applying for a master's? Are you simply looking for a graduate certificate? We need to know what program you're interested in. And then you actually formally apply to that program. Part of that process is we actually utilize consultants, experts in credential evaluation. So we actually partner with these expert evaluators who will look at your transcripts, look at your certifications. They'll do a full evaluation for you, and then they'll provide that to you, and they'll let you know, based on your transcripts, based on your previously earned certifications, based on all of the information you've provided, you'll know exactly what's going to transfer in, what courses you can waive. You'll actually receive a full degree plan showing you what courses you have to take, and then it'll even show you how quickly you can graduate. We provide all of that, but we do require you to go through the formal application and evaluation process. We're required to do that through our accrediting and recognition bodies in order to make sure that we're providing you with the most astute and accurate ability. And let me say once again, one of the things I'm proud of is EC Council University has a very generous transfer policy, and they want to do everything they can to help you maximize your transferability of credits. So just a little bit about EC Council University. What's our learning methodology, right? We are a fully accredited U.S. university. We already talked about industry practitioners as faculty. So you're getting that real world experience in the classroom. We talk about well-researched courseware. I think I mentioned we have over 300 people, 300 industry experts on our advisory board. What do? They're the ones that help us write our curriculum. I mentioned in the Masters of Computer Science that, we rolled this program out almost a year ago. We had artificial intelligence built into that program before artificial intelligence was a hot topic and was being talked about. Why? Because our industry experts told us, this is coming. This is going to be a critical component. We put it into our program, right? I said earlier, we're 100% online, right? We do not require you to log on and log into class at a specific day at a specific time. So if you're a working professional or you're trying to balance work, family life, personal life, volunteer work, you have the ability to structure your schedule the way you want. We have some students that they put two hours a day aside to do their work. We have other students who say, I can't do that. But you know what? I'm going to carve out big chunks of time on the weekend to get my work done. That's up to you. So you get to boost your career prospects and network in peer circles, right? We have a lot of students that come to EC Council University that tried doing self-paced education and they struggled. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have support. They didn't have access to the faculty. And what they also didn't have is they didn't have a network of other students. When you're a student at EC Council, in every one of your courses, you have access to your fellow classmates. You have student forums. You have a built-in support group. And many of our students utilize those student forums to network. Yeah, is your company hiring? As a matter of fact, they are. We just hired 3 more people. Great. Can I get your information, right? You also have access 24/7 to the iLabs, right? So if you want to go in and you want to practice or work on those real world simulations, you can do that. I've already mentioned that the certification vouchers are included. They're already included. We partner with several institutions and organizations that provide internship opportunities. So as a student of EC Council, you'll have exposure to those organizations. And then those of you that have taken online classes, you might be familiar with our learning management system. We utilize Canvas. And those who are not familiar, Canvas really, it's the premier learning management system. It's your course structure. It's the application that you use to get your assignments, submit your assignments, interact with your instructor. So we utilize Canvas, and again, it's the premier, and it's really the gold standard of LMS for online programs. Why is earning a degree important, right? Hey, Mark, I've got a certification. You know what? I've got a good job. I might want to get promoted. Maybe I'll get another certification or two, but I don't really see the need to get a bachelor's, finish my bachelor's, or I don't see the need to go on and get a master's. Well, I want to ask each of you and ask yourselves, how much longer do you have in the workforce? I can tell you that in the US, the average age of retirement used to be 63 to 65. It's now 71. So people are working till they're 71. So ask yourself, where are you on that timeline? How many more years do you have in the workforce before you hit that retirement age? Is it 10 years, 20 years? For most of our students, it's 30 years or 40 years. So if you're going to be working in an industry for the next 30 years or 40 years, why not future-proof your career? Why not build up those credentials that you're going to need? Look at that first bullet point I mentioned earlier. Not only are more employers requiring the degrees to hire and to get a job, they're requiring them for promotions, and they're requiring them for you to maintain your employment. I know of 2 companies that they've given their employees who don't have a bachelor's degree, they've given them 2.5 years to finish that bachelor's degree. Otherwise, their employment is no longer secure. So if you don't have that degree today, at some point, your employer might come knocking on your door saying, you need to get it if you want to stay here, right? I mentioned for more advanced positions, it's the requirement. You need that bachelor's or you need that master's degree to get a more advanced position. It helps you prepare for leadership positions, right? So when you're earning a bachelor's or a master's degree with ECCU, you're not just getting a credential, you're also learning additional skill sets, critical thinking skills, leadership skill sets, capabilities. You're earning a deeper knowledge in cybersecurity. The employers that we work with and hire our graduates, they know that. Okay, a piece of paper can show that you've earned a master's or you've earned a bachelor's, but earning that master's or that bachelor's degree with ECCU, those employers know that our graduates come out with those critical thinking skills, those problem solving skills, right? Learning those leadership attributes. And many of the employers that hire our graduates have faculty that are on our staff. So these are just a variety of reasons why earning a degree is so important. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop there. I want to thank you all, but I want to let you know that our admissions is open. What I would really encourage you to do, and we've got some questions in the chat that we'll get to here in a minute, but I really want to encourage you, if you have any questions, we have an expert team of enrollment advisors who are equipped to answer any of your questions. Questions regarding transferability of credit, questions regarding requirements for any of our programs, questions regarding cybersecurity certifications, which ones transfer, questions regarding length of programs, questions regarding salaries in particular parts of the world, right? What would a salary for a security analyst be in Singapore versus Nigeria versus India versus the US? Our enrollment advisors are trained and equipped to answer all those questions. So I would really encourage you, If you're even remotely interested in simply getting additional information, there's contact information right at the bottom of the screen. You can go to www.eccu.edu and request more information, or you can go to connect@eccu.edu and request more information. But for many of you, you've already requested information before. And the way you found out about this webinar was through an email you received from your enrollment advisor. So you may already have an enrollment advisor assigned to help you. I'd encourage you to go back to that email. And if you do have an enrollment advisor, reach directly to that enrollment advisor. I would really encourage you, if you're even remotely contemplating one of our programs, looking at our fall term for October. And I'll tell you why. Especially if you work for an employer that provides tuition reimbursement, usually those reimbursement funds are on a calendar level. And usually those reimbursement funds have a maximum amount you can use. So if you waited until January, the clock starts ticking again, and you will most likely hit your maximum reimbursement dollars in the year 2024. However, if you haven't utilized any of those reimbursement dollars, there's still time for you to use those dollars that they've allocated for 2023. So you can utilize those dollars in your first term in the fall, and then those reimbursement funds get recirculated and restarted again in 2024. The other piece, I can't guarantee every university, anywhere in the US, internationally, every university every year is forced to look at their tuition rates and to ask and say, are our rates competitive? Not only are they competitive, but are our rates, tuition rates, realistic? Can we cover the cost? And you will see many universities raising the cost of their tuition as you get into a new year. So if you start with ECCU in the fall term in one of our programs, providing you remain enrolled in that program, you get locked into that tuition rate. So if there is a tuition rate in 2024, right, you're already locked in. Again, providing that your enrollment remains consistent. So with that, I think you have all the information you need. I do want to go ahead, and it looks like we have some questions. What's your outlook on cybersecurity in Africa or Africa IT professionals, Q2? So actually, we are partnering with a couple of organizations specifically in Africa, countries like Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria. We get an overwhelming influx of students looking for information in those areas. Those areas, even South Africa, those areas are prime targets for cyber criminals, and those are some regions that really don't have the ability to fill the jobs that are available. Also, one of the things I wanted to point out, and I apologize, ECCU has an abundance of scholarships that are available. So we provide regional scholarships. So depending upon your country of origin, you may qualify for up to a 20% scholarship, anywhere from a 10%, 20% scholarship, depending upon the region that you reside in. Also, we have a variety of other scholarships. We have a Dean Scholarship. We have a Hero Scholarship, scholarship for military and veterans, for first responders. Once again, we cannot tell you what scholarships you qualify for until you apply. So in addition to wanting to know which of your credits can transfer and will transfer, knowing what scholarships you qualify is another reason why you want to go through the application process. So what is the tuition for the master's and graduate programs, certificate programs? My answer is it depends. It depends on where you reside. If you reside in the US, you have a separate scholarship available than those that reside in Nigeria, which is separate from those that reside in India, which is separate from those that reside in Singapore. So because we are a global and international university, we actually have, and I don't want to say it's complicated, but we do actually have a complex tuition pricing structure. Again, going back to where you reside, your country of origin, and what scholarships are available. So I could have 5 students in the same program, and depending upon where they live in the world and what scholarships are available, that tuition rate might be different. So to the person that asked this question, again, reach out to an enrollment advisor right away. They can help you identify those specific costs. I would encourage you to go and just look in the news. If you walk away with anything, any pieces of information, I think the takeaways are, number one, the huge demand in cybersecurity and the outlook, the employment outlook for the next 20, 30 years, right? Those individuals that are either looking to enter into cybersecurity or advance in cybersecurity, you're in the right field, you're in the right industry. The job outlook doesn't look stronger for any other field or any other industry, number one. Number two, right? The employment outlook is phenomenal worldwide. So whether you want to work in the US or work for an international or a global company, whether you want to work in the healthcare industry or automotive, right? You have at your fingertips the ability to pick, choose, and select where you want to work, who you want to work for. That's a great position to be in. And you know what the employment outlook is looking like. You know what employers are going to require. And you're in a prime position right now with EC Council University, really to career-proof, right? To career-proof your future. And then last thing, ask yourself, how many more years am I going to be working before I can afford to retire? What age am I going to retire? How many more years am I going to be working in this industry? So now is the time. I can tell you, I work with students that are enrolling in master's programs that are on the back end of their career, and they admit and they admit openly that they wish they had gone back earlier. So now you actually have that ability to be able to prepare yourself. Somebody wants to know what the average salary in Europe and the United States would be if you get this degree in cybersecurity. Well, I'm not sure what degree you're referring to. Are you referring to a bachelor's degree, to a master's degree? Are you referring to a specific position? Okay, so what you would need to do, again, talk to your enrollment advisor. They have a list of all the jobs in particular regions and in particular countries, what those starting salaries are and what those requirements are. So the EC Council certifications, do they need to be renewed every couple of years? That's literally up to your employer. Most employers will determine when they need to be renewed. Again, for us, as long as that certification has been earned in the last 10 years, we'll honor that and look at that from a class waiver perspective. But whether your employer wants you to have that renewed every couple of years, I can't answer that. That's a good question, either when you're interviewing or with your current employer. What email can I send my certifications to for analysts? Can I get credits? Again, you cannot email your certifications. Guys, folks, let me repeat this one more time. You can't simply email a certification or a transcript to us and ask us to determine whether you can transfer. But you need to actually apply. Reach to your enrollment advisor. There's a process. You have to formally apply for one of our programs. Part of that application process is you submitting your transcripts, your certifications. Once that file is complete with your application and all the necessary documents, we submit that into our evaluators who will look at that and then who will determine what credits can transfer. And you'll get a whole academic plan showing you what's transferred in, what hasn't transferred in, and what courses you still need to take. Okay, what are the requirements to get into the Masters of Cybersecurity? Okay, so in order to get into the Masters of Cybersecurity, the nice thing is that we do not have a GPA requirement. Many universities and schools require you to have a GPA of a 2.0 or a 3.0 to get into their programs. We do not have a GPA requirement for neither our bachelor's or our master's program. We do have a requirement, an English proficiency requirement. And again, your enrollment advisor will help you determine whether you already meet that English proficiency requirement or whether you need to submit additional documentation. Okay? And we do require that in order to transfer courses into the master's program, that grade be at a B or better. Again, folks, you're asking questions that the enrollment advisor can help you, but it's all part of that application process that somebody will help. It's kind of like buying a car or buying a house, right? A bank really can't help you determine whether they can finance your purchase until you go through that application process with them. And then the last question, what is the difference between the non-degree courses and the degree courses? Well, again, a non-degree course, it's an individual course you want to take, and maybe you earn a certification, but you're not interested in taking or earning a degree. So if you're not interested in earning a degree course or a degree, so you don't want to earn a bachelor's or a master's, you just want to take a course, an individual course, and maybe that's a better way to define it. They're individual course takers. They're not interested in a bachelor's, not interested in a master's, they're not interested in a graduate certificate. They just want to take a course and maybe earn an individual certification. They take that, their status as a non-degree seeking student. Now, some students that are non-degree seeking end up saying, I've taken a course or two. Now I've changed my mind. I want to pursue a bachelor's or I want to pursue a master's. Then you can formally go through and you need to fill out paperwork and an application to convert and transition from a non-degree seeking student to a degree seeking student. So with that, we're over time. I want to be respectful of time. Thank you so much. Again, contact information, one of three ways: www.eccu.edu, connect@eccu.edu, or if you were fortunate enough to get that email from your enrollment advisor, their contact information should be on that email. Pull it up and reach to them directly. I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to wish you the best of luck. Excellent choice in a career, in choosing a career in cybersecurity. And thank you to all of you, whether you're entering the field or you're in the field, for ultimately helping make our world a safer place. Have a great day and a great rest of your week.